Well, I have a surprise. I'm getting married.
I'll move my head. Just
Hold
to put it
on.
out there, just in case the husband is watching.
I mean,
he might be there now.
So that's why you don't go and do Oju Kokoro.
Sensational.
What is up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get into this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Today I have a special guest with me,
Sheeda.
I'm going to link her channel in the description below if you want to introduce yourself.
What's up, y'all? My name is Sheeda. My IG and YouTube name is ebeji2, so make sure you like, follow, all of that.
Hey, and we coming to y'all today with some real talk with Sheeda and Sheeda. I have a set of about 4 or 5 questions I'm going to be asking, and from there we'll lead to a little discussion about how we feel about being Black and Muslim in America. Our identity. We can't get rid of it, okay?
Yes, it's who we are.
Question number 1. What is it like growing up in a Muslim home? Like, people think that, like, you know, because you grew up in a Muslim home, like, you weren't allowed to do certain things, or, you know, you didn't have, like, a full experience of some sort. I don't know, but, like, that's the vibes that I've gotten. Like, they seem like you are more on, like, lockdown, or, like, you can't do, you know, things that normal people do because they think that your parents are Muslim, so they automatically think strict. That's how I felt. But, I mean, for me, it was not like that at all. Like, actually, to be honest, like, growing up, the highlight of my week was Sunday going to the masjid or going to the mosque. So, like, be with my family, eat food, do as-salatu, which is like the prayer that we do.
I just feel like it wasn't as what maybe people on the outside perceived it to be. It was very calm and nonchalant, and I think I attribute that to my parents having Nigerian culture and coming from a culture where, like, you do have Muslims in Nigeria who are very you know, strict and adamant about just being on point with everything, but they just came at a time where things were chill, and so we grew up with a very calm, chill dynamic in our home, and a lot of the knowledge that we got about Islam actually came from outside and came from, you know, going to Islamic school and learning about the deen in a different context. It was calm and chill. It wasn't like anything that you see on TV or in social media or anything like that. It was regular. Like, I got to do anything. I played basketball, I danced, I did all these different things.
Have you seen that thing on Twitter where it's like that girl, she's wearing like abaya with a hijab and she's playing basketball?
Yeah, she's from Boston. Like,
oh, she is?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
my gosh. Somebody was like, we have to pray at 7 but a pickup game at 8. Honestly, like, yeah, like, going off of what Sheeda said, like, it was chill. Like, I don't know if it's because we have a mix of, like, Nigerian culture in there, but, like, our parents are, like, and even my mosque was, like, Nigerian-based community. So, like, everybody who taught us Quran or who taught us about what we know, like, they were also Nigerian Yoruba. So, it felt like home. Like, when we were learning, but it felt like home. So, I can't really complain about how, you know, we grew up living in a Muslim. I can't really complain about how I grew up personally in a Muslim home. So
yeah, I agree. It's not to say that Nigerians don't take the religion seriously. Nigerians are very prayerful, and they do take the religion seriously. It's just that they're not gonna like force it on you, basically.
Right. They let you kind of grow. Mine too. Like, they let you kind of grow on your own pace. Like, it wasn't why aren't you wearing this or why aren't you wearing that? Like, it's like grow on your own, and then hopefully, you know, they pray that you find, you know,
the deen within yourself.
Exactly.
And that you make the decision that this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Nobody told me to wear hijab.
Nobody told me
to. The only thing they told me to do was pray.
I know.
So
me too.
like,
which is good. Like, next question. How do you feel like it was growing up in a Nigerian household too?
So what I appreciate about Nigerian Muslims in the U.S. is that they all took the initiative, no matter what state they were in, they all took the initiative to form a community, to create masjids, and to all connect with each other and create like one national community where we all like are able to meet each other and make a community. And that's literally how I know Sheeda. It's through this network that Nigerian Muslims came here and created. So, you know, just being a part of a community that like cares about their culture and their religion, has just made, I guess, my experience as a Nigerian Muslim or growing up with the culture so unique and different. Like,
I can agree. Like, another thing, like, for me, like I mentioned earlier, like, growing up, to me, like, going to the mosque every Sunday was, like, my highlight of my week or whatever. So, like, to transform that into, like, now going into, like, the programs that we created, like, that's my yearly highlight. Like, I look forward to every year going to those programs to see people like Faridas, or, like, even friends that I met in many other different states. And it's also comfortable to know that, like, any state I go to, like, I have a community there, like, waiting for me.
Exactly. There are just certain things that, you know, as a Yoruba, that we have to understand, or specifically as, you know, the Yoruba tribe, because there's other Nigerian Muslims, there's Hausa Muslims, whatever, that we know that within our culture, you know, we have to be a bit more modest about, or we have to actually stop doing and stuff like that. But I don't ever feel like I'm compromising myself as a Muslim or as a Nigerian. I just feel like it all fits the way it's meant to fit,
like a puzzle. Like, it literally all just comes together, you know. I feel like I get the best of both worlds, like, honestly. Like, we're a lit culture, and, like,
very lit.
We're a lit culture, and then, like, you have the religious side where it's like makes you just, like, spiritual. I don't know, like, you just once you get that balance, it's like it's lit.
It's lit. It's
like,
lit.
It's literally
being
so
Nigerian
lit.
and Muslim is lit.
It literally is. Like,
Black and Muslim, period. Islam has been in Nigeria before Christianity. Like, his name was like Henry Townsend. He was the missionary that came to Badagry to come and collect everybody. Islam was already there. The first person he collected was Muslim. His name was like Abbas. Like, it's been here. We've been Muslim, baby.
With the history lesson, period.
We've been Muslim.
We've been here. Catch up. To number 3. How long have you been wearing your hijab?
Bro.
So for me, I started freshman year of college, so 2013. So about what, 7-ish years now? 6-7-ish years. So I started because I was going into college. It's a fresh new community, fresh new environment. So I was like, I might as well, you know, embrace that part of myself. And it was something that I was thinking about doing for a little while before I actually did it. So I was teeter-tottering with, you know, starting or not, but I'm so glad, alhamdulillah, that I actually, like, wore it, because it gave me, like, a different sense of myself, you know?
Same.
So,
yeah, I started wearing mine in 2009. This was when I was a freshman in high school.
So freshman in high school, freshman in college.
Yeah. And it was interesting. It was like, I think it was like April. And it was during, like, my math class that I decided to put it on. And it was the last block of the day. I had a scarf around my neck, and I was just contemplating all day, like, should I put this on my head? So prior to that, I had been in Islamic school that did a whole unit on hijab. And so they had us thinking about hijab, learning about hijab, and seeing if it's something that we would want to do for ourselves. So I first started by wearing, like, a beret on my head. So I just got used to covering my hair completely.
Right.
And then I wore a scarf to school that day, and it was the last block of the day. Everybody was chilling doing math problems, and I was shook. I was just in my seat like, oh my gosh, I'm about to do this.
Everybody think you're doing 2 + 2, but you're really thinking if you're going to go put your scarf on.
Exactly. So I went to the bathroom, and I was like, okay, let me put this on my head. And this, like, girl comes into the room, and I'm shook. I froze, and she just went into the bathroom. And then I continued what I was doing. She came out to wash her hands, and I was, like, looking at her, like, and she wasn't even looking at me. And I was like, okay, what am I stressing out for? But then I asked her, like, okay, so does this look weird? And she was like, no, it looks fine. And I was like, oh, okay. So that, like, gave me all the confidence I needed. And from that day, I started wearing my hijab. I never took it off. Alhamdulillah.
I just dove right in. Like, I didn't know how to tie my scarf. I didn't know how to do any of it, y'all. Like, I was just about to just wing it. I knew I probably looked crazy, but like you said, like, to the outside world, like, they don't know. Like, it's just because you know.
Yeah.
So, like, when you put it on and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't look good with this on or whatever. Like, they're looking at you like, oh yeah, you're killing it. But, like, I remember some days I used to wear my scarf like, this does not look good on me. Like, or I used to hurry up and have to look in the mirror because I'm like, is my scarf, like, falling off? Or, like,
I mean, you're gonna have those days. Like, you're gonna have the days when you have bantu knots in your hair and you gotta put your hijab on and you look crazy. But
honestly, for me, like, starting to wear my scarf I had like a whole different, I feel like I had a whole different lens. Like, I was living through life in a whole different lens. But it wasn't bad necessarily. Like, I know some people go through their personal struggles of, like, you know, wearing a scarf or starting that scarf journey or wearing hijab. But honestly,
people should know that the hijab is fard. It is mandatory or obligatory, but it's up to you to decide when you want to do it.
And that actually goes back to what we were saying about growing up in a household. Like, it was never forced. So I felt like it came natural for me, at least. I don't know about for you, but for me, at least, to want to start wearing it on my own. Like, I felt like if I was growing up in those force, wear your job, wear something, like, I would be so, like, rebellious against it. But because I came to that consensus on my own, like, I embraced it a lot more. And, like, I'm so glad that, like, you know, it came to me that way instead of, like, you know, the other way, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely something that, like, I embraced on my own as well. It was times where I would go to parties and aunties would come and pull it off my head. And I was just like, auntie, please.
Auntie?
What are you doing? Yeah, auntie was like, why are you covering your face? I'm just like, auntie,
auntie's okay.
It's okay.
Don't touch.
Don't touch.
Just like, and then another thing is like, just like you don't touch people's hair, like, don't ask me the texture of my scarf. I know it's popping.
Yeah.
I know the color is popping, the style is popping, the print is popping, but don't touch my scarf.
Okay.
Period. Next question. Do you feel like being in America made it more difficult for you?
Yes and no.
I can agree with yes and no.
I would say yes, because in America you're confronted with it much more than you would be maybe in Nigeria or in a Muslim country. So it's common for you to go somewhere and nobody would know what the heck is on your head or what the heck you're talking about.
Right.
And so it challenges you to actually know your deen, to understand why you're wearing hijab, to understand your Quran too, so that when people come to you and say something crazy, you'll be able to explain yourself. I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah. You gotta present with the facts.
You gotta present with the facts. You know what you're talking about, and it has to make sense.
Yeah.
So it's hard in that, and then it's hard in like just like the accommodations that have to be made for you. Obviously, like lifestyle in a Muslim country is catered towards like your salat. You know, Fridays are usually the weekends.
Right.
Whereas here, it's like people have to struggle to make time on Friday to go to Juma.
Yep.
They have to like make sure that the food that they're eating is halal, that there's no pork.
Yep.
Make accommodations for juices. You can't go and drink anything anywhere, because that's how you go and do something stupid like I did.
What you do, sis?
Girl, I was at this event and there was this punch bowl, and my greedy self was just like, ooh, juice. I thought it was like Hawaiian punch, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't, you know. I filled my cup up to the top and I took a sip and I said, I spit it back and I put it down. And that's how you don't go and do ojukokoro, because that's how you just eat pork.
Seriously, I was about to say that too. Like, that's how you go and eat like something that like people are serving, and you're like, oh, work bought lunch for people today. Like, let's go eat or something. And they'll have like a thing, and you will be eating it, and you'll be like, oh, it has bacon bits. Hey,
me to me, bam. Like,
you be like, bacon bits. Like, where was the disclaimer? Like, I need a disclaimer.
At least they told you, or at least like in settings where they have the sign that says, okay, there's bacon here, this in there.
Yeah.
But even here, still, you can go and find a dish that will say 3 treasure chicken, and that treasure is actually pork.
X marks the spot. You have to ask questions. You have to, go out your way to make sure. Yeah, be careful. Go out your way to make sure, like, you're not eating or drinking or whatever the wrong things. Whereas I feel like you said, growing up in Nigeria or something, like, it's kind of just known. Like, they won't even look at you any differently. Like, you'll just be another lady walking across the street, maybe with a hijab on. They'll call you Hajia. Like, like, they'll embrace you. It's not like they're like, what is that on her head?
Yeah.
Many times there's people told me like they like my hat, or they like my whatever. I'm just like, Karen,
hat.
Does this look like a hat to you? Because
that's just the closest thing that they can attribute it to.
A hat, though.
You gotta let them know.
So, like, touching on the differences or whatever in America, like, of course we know, like, how the media like portrays Muslim people or the religion of Islam in general. Mm-hmm. So that kind of makes people feel like they can say or do whatever they feel like it. And sometimes, you just gotta let them know, like, no, not over here. Like, and that's what she was saying too. You have to come with the facts, because the media would make it seem like it's a religion of hate or like a religion of violence or whatever the case may be. And so like people, when they only see that, when they only know that, of course that's what they're being taught, and that's all they know. So they come at you sideways or differently. But I personally thank God that I've never been through anything crazy like that. I know some people who have, but yeah, it's definitely a reality in America of people who go through those kind of things. So
true. Makes it easy, or to the no part, I guess, is just the community that's here. Like the fact that there are a lot of Muslims here in general, and there's a lot of communities that work towards advocating for the things that we need to accommodate to live, you know, in America with our Muslim identity and the things that we're meant to do for prayer. So there's some cities that will give schools the day off for Eid.
Yep.
And then there's like, you know, hospitals and even
airports
that will have like prayer rooms. So there's certain things that kind of make it easy.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I feel like now that, like, you know, most places now are going into like, or diving into like diversity and inclusion. So like, I feel like you can't promote diversity and inclusion without promoting everybody. So I feel like now we're seeing like the switch of like people including all different types of like, whether it be genders, religions, sexualities, like they're incorporating all of that, because you can't take one without kind of taking everyone, because then it'll be like you're still, you know,
discriminating.
Exactly. So I think that's why we've been seeing those differences in those, like, even like the media, you'll see like makeup people are like now, you know, showcasing hijabs. I mean, or people who wear hijab for the makeup line, or like Nike who put out the
Nike hijab.
Exactly. So like definitely seeing changes, and like I guess the story, or what is the word I'm looking for? The narrative. I guess the narrative trying to be changed towards, you know, how people view certain people. But I think there's still a little bit more ways to go.
There's definitely a lot more ways to go. But I'm thinking they're realizing that there's mad Muslims in this country. We've been here since the start of this country, and we ain't going nowhere.
So you can get to know me. Next question. So how was your college experience as a Muslim woman?
Sensational.